Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. It's Gary speaking to you again. I've been honored to listen to Brother Zia's message just now, and I just wanted to add a few things because he is so right on. First of all, don't let fear rent space in your head. It's been said that we have nothing to fear but fear itself. Fear will rob you of everything. Fear will take away your joy. Fear will rob you of hope and possibly even your faith. Almost all human anxiety and suffering comes down to fear. As Brother Zia says, fear of the past catching up to you, fear of the future, fear of losing things, wives, husbands, cars, homes, things like that. When you have all of those fears working at the subconscious level of your mind, where is Allah? Where is God? He who believes in God, in Allah, has nothing to fear. Fear is what you would have without your faith in Allah. You don't have the past anymore, it's gone. You don't have any guarantee on the future, which is why we say, inshallah. I know Canadian people who I sit with and they say to me, in 15 years I'm going to retire and go to Newfoundland and live in Port aux Basques. Now, how do I, with this philosophy, look at a person like that? Me, who knows that none of us knows if we have 15 minutes, let alone 15 years. And when it comes to fear, what is there more to fear than death? Once you conquer your fear of death, which is your belief in Allah and your love for God, there are no more fears. Your possessions are just things you guard for concern that you might need them tomorrow. You cannot take it with you. We all know that. We know that if your possessions are a problem to you, give them away. Give them away, because your things own you as much as you own them. Remember that. Every time you acquire something, it claims ownership on you, because it is a material thing. You will either worship God or you will worship the material. Now, when you become burdened by the material, you obviously have too much. It is hard to give what you've worked hard for, but as I was reminded in the Jummah today by the Imam, is that your possessions are simply an insecurity. They act like a substitute for faith. You cannot have two masters. If you wish to serve God, then you must be prepared to let all of that go if asked of you. There were many people who wanted to follow some of the great prophets, and when they were told, certainly you may become part of our ministry or whatever, all you have to do is give up everything you own, all your material goods. Many went away sorrowful and shaking their heads because they could not do that. They wanted God, but they want their piggy bank too. And sometimes they're incompatible. You cannot serve God and the material both. Your day will be taken up by one thing or another, either the pursuit of money and things, or the pursuit or building up your wealth in your soul, which is the one thing you can take with you. I don't know what comfort such things are. You give but little when you give of your possessions anyway. It's when you give of yourself that you truly give. That is what I have learned here at the masjid. It's the things that the brothers and sisters do for each other that is so beautiful, because God has done for all of us. Allah has brought us together, has given us the Quran as a recipe for life. You don't even have to think about it. You just have to learn it, and you're literally safe from all harm of this world. So lose your fears and live in the moment means not to have your mind cluttered up. If you, for example, what if you had to go to a meeting that related to your job or the acquiring of something important to you in the material sense, but all of a sudden Allah says to you, no, I want to be with you. I want you to be with me. I want you to pray. I want you to talk to me. Now, what are you going to do? So if you had a feeling that you should pray, you should do that rather than go out, because that moment may be your last.
Allah, Allahu Allah, Ya Allah, Allah, Allahu Allah, Allah.
That's the thing. We never know. This is why we're told to enjoy our children. Stop whenever you can, and remember that nothing lasts forever except God. And all of us will perish, and all of this world will pass away, except for Him. Living in the moment is how I was open, is how I found my Shahada. Living in the moment is how I saw a book. I wasn't distracted with rushing out the door to catch the bus or to hop into a car or to get to the next rendezvous. I was living in the moment and cast my eye gently as I left the place. And this book, it's a beginning book for students of Islam, beginners like myself, and it just grabbed me. It couldn't have grabbed me if I had had 100 things on my mind. Oh my goodness, it's almost time for the bus. I've got to run. I've got to say goodbye. Do I have all my stuff? Did I forget anything? If I had all the time in years that I spent learning to live in the moment led up to my having the frame of mind to stop and, when they say smell the roses, to be grabbed by something like a little tiny book with just a picture of a candle in the dark on it. That reached right out to me, because that is the kind of moment I live in. I don't have those other distractions on my mind. I don't concern myself with money. I don't concern myself with houses and cars. I only know that I can take, if I can take one thing out of this world with me, it is my soul, and my soul only, which isn't even mine. It belongs to God. I think it's our soul is our connection to God. It's the part of us that cannot die, because it is part of God, and He is eternal. So look, for heaven's sake, stop to hug your children. Stop to kiss your wife or husband and tell them you love them, because think of it this way: I don't know if I have an hour. Don't assume you've got all this time. And do all the nice things that you want to do. Not all at once, but do them daily, just like you do your chores. And just remember what is most important to you. It is, if you have a family, that is first. The love of your spouse and the love of your children. And the example you set and the love that you create in your home. All these trivial things that Brother Z is trying to tell you. There's a million things on your phone's going off. You got something coming on TV you want to see. You're taping something. You've got to get to the internet. Where is there time? When you get that busy, when your day is that full that you don't have time to hug your child or to smell the roses, then you've already paid too high a price for your things. You know, you can pay too much for your whistle, as Benjamin Franklin once said. When he was 9, he talked. It was a lifelong lesson. For a long time, he didn't care that people told him he spent too much for a whistle. But he was only a little boy because he enjoyed that whistle. But when he got older, he realized the meaning of paying too much for something that you seek. This was just an addendum. There isn't any point in going on. I think we've got the idea. I was just so impressed with Brother Zia's perspicacious grasp of the importance of now. Right now is all you have. So think about that. Think about that. And think about, if I were to die, if I knew, the doctor told me, this disease you have is in all cases terminal. You have 2 months to live. What would you do with that time? Well, I suggest you do that anyway. How can you lose? How can you lose? Your daily life is your masjid. It is your mosque. Whenever you enter into it, take with you your all. Don't become divided and become schizophrenic. You're this person at work because this is the role is demanded of you. Now you come home and your role as father or husband or wife. If you do that, you will become fragmented. Your psyche will become fragmented, and you will no longer know who you are. You will lose your totality, your sense of self, your oneness. And if you lose your sense of oneness, there's a very great danger. You could lose your connection to God, you know, himself. So anyway, the moment is all you have, okay? So make the most of it.